Welcome to the IELTS Success Roadmap, a masterclass brought to you by Peter Agbontain. First of all, thank you for choosing to be here. Whether you are preparing to study abroad, migrate, advance your career, or simply create new opportunities for yourself, I'm genuinely delighted you decided to join me. Over the next few minutes, I want you to approach this masterclass with an open mind, because my goal today isn't simply to teach you IELTS, it's to help you understand it. Because the better you understand IELTS, the better you prepare for it. My goal in this masterclass is very simple. By the end of this masterclass, you will understand how IELTS really works, why so many candidates struggle, and exactly what you need to do to achieve your target band score. That's my promise to you. Not more tips, not more tricks, not more information, but something much more valuable: understanding. Because once you truly understand how IELTS works, you stop relying on guesswork. You prepare with confidence. You make better decisions. And every hour you invest in preparation becomes more productive. Because understanding removes guesswork. Clarity creates confidence. One of the biggest challenges facing IELTS candidates today isn't a lack of information. It's the exact opposite. There's information everywhere. Open YouTube, you'll find thousands of IELTS videos. Search Google, you'll find countless articles. Join Facebook or WhatsApp groups, and everyone has advice. One teacher tells you to practice more tests, another tells you vocabulary is okay. Someone else insists grammar is everything. Others tell you confidence is all you need. So before long, you are surrounded by so many opinions that you don't even know what to believe anymore. That's the real problem. Information overload has created confusion. When you are confused about how IELTS works, it's almost impossible to prepare with confidence. You end up trying everything without knowing what actually matters. That's why I created this masterclass. My goal isn't to give you more information. My goal is to replace confusion with clarity. Because once you have clarity, you know what matters, what doesn't, where to focus your efforts, and how to prepare with confidence. The purpose of this masterclass is simple: to replace confusion with clarity. Don't forget that. Over the years, I've met candidates who have studied for months, some for years. They've completed dozens of practices, memorized vocabulary, watched countless videos, attended IELTS lessons, worked incredibly hard, yet their scores barely changed. Not because they weren't intelligent, not because their English was poor, not because they lacked commitment, but because they didn't fully understand how IELTS works. And if you don't understand how a system works, it's very difficult to prepare for success within that system. That's why this masterclass isn't about giving you more advice. It's about giving you a clear understanding of the exam itself. Because once you understand the system, your preparation starts to make sense. And when preparation makes sense, your progress does too. To achieve this, This masterclass is built around three important questions. Everything today we'll be discussing is designed to answer them. Question 1. Why do the majority of IELTS candidates struggle to achieve their target band scores? Question 2. What separates the minority who achieve their target band scores from the majority who don't? Question 3. How can you apply those same principles applied by the successful minority to achieve your own target band score? By the time we've answered these three questions, you won't just know more about IELTS, you will understand it. And that understanding will transform the way you prepare. And remember this, the right preparation begins with the right understanding. So let's begin with the first question. Why do so many intelligent, hardworking candidates remain stuck at the same score? Sometimes after months, sometimes after years of preparation. Most people think they already know the answer. But what if the real reason is completely different? Let's find out. But remember this, to change your results, you must first understand what's keeping them the same. So again, I ask, why do so many IELTS candidates fail to achieve their target band scores? It's certainly not because they don't want to succeed. Many IELTS candidates invest months, sometimes years, preparing. They spend money on courses. They solve countless practice tests. They memorize vocabulary. They watch endless YouTube videos. And yet, many of them remain stuck at exactly the same band score. Why? Most people have an answer, but the truth is, they have the wrong answer. Today, I'd like to challenge some of the biggest myths surrounding IELTS success. Because until we understand why candidates really struggle, we cannot understand how to succeed. Because the first step to success is understanding why success has been difficult. There are three popular explanations commonly advanced by people to explain failure in IELTS. You have the English myth, the intelligence myth, as well as the preparation myth. And let's discuss them one after the other. Number one, the intelligence myth. People often assume IELTS is simply an intelligence test. If you are intelligent, you naturally get a high score. That's what many people think. But reality tells a different story. I've seen brilliant engineers, doctors, lawyers, and university graduates struggle to achieve their target band scores. At the same time, I've seen candidates with far less academic experience succeed remarkably well. Why? Because IELTS doesn't reward intelligence alone. It rewards something much more specific. We'll come back to that shortly. But for now, remember this. Being intelligent helps, but preparing intelligently helps even more. Another common belief is this: my English isn't good enough. Now, don't misunderstand me. English matters. You cannot score band 9 without good English. But English alone doesn't explain IELTS performance. Have you ever met someone who speaks English fluently, yet performs poorly in IELTS? I've seen many of them over the years. Or someone whose everyday English is exceptional, yet achieves an excellent score. I've seen that too, countless times. That happens far more often than people realize because IELTS measures more than English. And that's one of the biggest misunderstandings candidates have. Now, hear this. Good English is important, but understanding IELTS is even more important. Perhaps the biggest myth of all of this is this. If I just work harder, I will eventually succeed. Hard work is valuable, but hard work by itself guarantees nothing. Imagine training for a marathon by practicing swimming every day. You work incredibly hard, you become fitter, but you'll still be preparing for the wrong event. The problem isn't effort, the problem is direction. So, hard work only pays when it is pointed in the right direction. And that means you can work very hard for IELTS and still fail to achieve your target band score if your hard work is focused in the wrong direction. Now, if intelligence isn't enough, if English isn't enough, and if hard work isn't enough, then what is the real reason so many IELTS candidates struggle to get their target band score? The answer is surprisingly simple. Hear this. Most candidates prepare the wrong way. Not because they are lazy, not because they are incapable, but because they misunderstand what IELTS actually requires. I call this the preparation mismatch. Candidates prepare for one kind of exam, while IELTS rewards something quite different. You cannot succeed consistently by preparing for the wrong exam. Don't forget that. What does this mismatch look like? Many candidates believe preparation means completing more practice tests, attending IELTS classes, memorizing larger vocabulary lists, studying grammar rules endlessly, collecting random tips from YouTube, watching hundreds of IELTS videos. These activities aren't necessarily bad. The problem is believing that they are enough. Because preparation isn't defined by what you do. Preparation is defined by what activities develop. That's a completely different way of thinking. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you do it. And remember this, preparation is not measured by activity. It is measured by improvement. So if there's no improvement in your score, it means that your preparation is wrong. So that's why so many candidates experience the same frustrating cycle. They study, they practice, they take mock tests, and get the same score, and repeat the whole process. It's an endless circle of failure. But that's not because they aren't improving at anything, but because they aren't improving the things IELTS actually rewards. And that's why most of preparation sometimes produce almost no progress. And note this, repeating the same preparation usually produce the same results. So let's summarize what we've discussed so far. Most candidates don't struggle because they aren't intelligent. They don't struggle because their English is hopeless. or poor. And they certainly don't struggle because they aren't working hard enough. They struggle because their preparation doesn't match what IELTS actually rewards. They struggle because their preparation doesn't match what IELTS actually rewards. They struggle because their preparation doesn't match what IELTS actually rewards. I have to repeat that so that it can sink, but that is the key. Now, that raises a very important question. If the majority are preparing the wrong way, what are the successful minority doing differently? That's exactly the question we'll answer next. But before we answer that question, remember this. Success begins when your preparation matches what IELTS actually rewards. We've now answered the first question and established a number of important facts, which include the fact that most candidates don't struggle because they lack intelligence or their English is poor or they don't work hard enough. They struggle because they are preparing the wrong way. That naturally leads us to our second question, which is what separates the successful minority from the majority who remain stuck? Majority of people fail to achieve their target band score, but a minority achieve their target band score. What do they do differently? What are the successful candidates doing differently? We need to ask that question. And the answer isn't that they study longer. It isn't that they are naturally gifted. It isn't that they have better English. It isn't even that they realize they are doing something different. They may not realize that many times. The real difference is this. They prepare for what IELTS actually rewards. They prepare for what IELTS actually rewards. Let us sink. And once you understand what IELTS actually rewards, your preparation changes completely. So right now, I'll show you the 4 principles behind that preparation. A preparation that improves what IELTS actually rewards. A preparation that targets at improving what IELTS rewards. But before I get into that, remember this. Successful candidates don't simply prepare more. They prepare for the right things. So if you want to be successful in IELTS, you have to start preparing for the right things and not just preparing blindly. This idea I want to discuss with you right now is probably the most important idea in this masterclass. Now, most people think IELTS measures English. Yes, it does. But that's only part of the story because IELTS measures or tests more than English. It is English alone. Behind every IELTS task, whether it's listening, reading, writing, or speaking, there are mental skills that determine your performance. I call this hidden skills. Now, English gives you access to the question, but the hidden skills determine how effectively you answer. And that's why 2 candidates with similar English ability can achieve completely different scores because they are using different thinking skills. So the thinking skills behind the exam is what many candidates don't understand. So IELTS tests thinking skills with English. And those hidden skills are very important. I will go into greater details shortly. But remember this, English is the language of IELTS, but hidden skills are the engine of success. Now, Let's discuss that further. In listening, IELTS rewards skills like predicting information, recognizing signposts and purpose, identifying key details, distinguishing main ideas from supporting details, recovering quickly after missing information, and so on. In reading, it rewards locating information efficiently, recognizing, paraphrasing, making logical inferences, tracking ideas in their relationships, evaluating information, and avoiding distractors, amongst others. In writing, it rewards analyzing the task requirements, generating relevant ideas, organizing ideas logically, selecting and supporting key points, maintaining coherence and cohesion, amongst others. While in speaking, it rewards organizing your thoughts quickly, expanding your answers naturally, and communicating ideas clearly under pressure. Now, notice something interesting. Those aren't simply English skills, they are thinking skills. Because every language requires this. Not just English. But IELTS tests these skills with English. That's the difference. But if you focus on just the English and miss these skills, you got problems with your preparations. That's the point I'm making. So these skills are hidden beneath the language. They are hidden beneath the language. Okay, but let me leave you with this for now. I'll come back to this concept later. Behind every IELTS task lies a hidden skill. Behind every IELTS task lies a hidden mental skill. Now, understanding hidden skills I just talked about is only part of the picture of the right preparation. There's something else successful candidates do. They understand that different questions require different strategies. A map labeling task in listening isn't approached the same way as multiple choice questions. Matching heading questions in reading requires a completely different strategy from true false not given questions. In writing, academic writing task 1, a process diagram requires a different approach from a line graph. And in writing task 2, an opinion question requires a different approach from an advantage and disadvantage essay. In speaking, part 1 is different from part 2 or part 3. Now, the mistake many candidates make is using one approach for everything. Successful candidates don't. They recognize what the task demands and adjust their strategy accordingly. They recognize what the task demands and adjust their strategy accordingly. Now remember this, different question types reward different strategies. And to prepare right for IELTS, you've got to understand the different question types there are and the question type specific strategy that works for a particular question type. Now, let's talk about practice. Most candidates understand the importance of practice when it comes to IELTS. But the problem is they use practice tests wrongly. They use them to answer one question. What score did I get? Successful candidates ask a different question. Why did I get that score? So the majority of candidates who struggle with IELTS use practice tests only for evaluation, whereas successful candidates use practice tests for diagnosis. There's a big difference. The difference is evaluation measures performance, whereas diagnosis explains performance. And from there, you can adjust your preparation when you have an explanation for your performance. If your listening score is low, for example, why is it low? If your reading score drops, what's the reason for that? If your writing score is stuck at 6.5, what are you struggling with? If your speaking isn't improving, what are your weaknesses? Those answers tell you exactly what to improve next. That's diagnostic practice. So the point is, the majority of candidates who struggle with IELTS use practice tests for evaluation. They practice, check their score, and move on. But the minority who succeed use practice tests for diagnosis, not evaluation only. They diagnose their weaknesses. They diagnose their mistakes and then practice in a way to improve the weaknesses and the mistake. So remember this. Your score tells you where you are. Diagnosis tells you where to go and how to get there. So the right way to prepare for IELTS is using practice tests for diagnostic purposes. Diagnostic practice. Don't forget that. Now, once you've identified the problem, the next step becomes obvious. You train the specific skill that is holding you back. If your listening diagnosis shows you weak signposting recognition, for example, you train your signpost recognition. If reading reveals weak inferencing, you train inferencing. If writing exposes poor idea generation, you practice generating ideas. If speaking shows difficulty expanding answers, you train idea development. Every practice activity should have a clear purpose. You are no longer practicing because you have time. You are practicing because you've identified a specific weakness. That's how improvement becomes systematic. That's skill-targeted preparation. So remember this. Don't practice randomly. Train deliberately. Use practices to diagnose your weaknesses and then deliberately train the skills that are holding back your score. That's skill-targeted preparation. So let's put everything together. Successful candidates prepare differently because they build their preparation on 4 simple principles. First, they understand the hidden skills behind IELTS tasks. Second, they use strategies that match every question type. Third, they use practice tests to diagnose weaknesses, not to measure scores. And fourth, they target those weaknesses with deliberate practice. Those 4 principles work together. Miss one, and your preparation becomes less effective. Master all 4, and your preparation becomes focused, efficient, and purposeful. And don't forget, purposeful preparation is built on clear principles. So, what really separates successful candidates from everyone else? Not superior intelligence, not perfect English, not endless hours of practice. They simply prepare differently. They understand that IELTS rewards more than English. They recognize the hidden skills behind every task. They adapt their strategies to different question types. They diagnose before they practice, and they train specific weaknesses instead of practicing everything. That is the philosophy behind my teaching system. Now, there's only one question left. How can you apply these principles to your own preparation? That's exactly what we'll answer in the next segment. So, how do you prepare the right way for IELTS? We've answered two very important questions so far. We've discovered why most candidates struggle with IELTS. We've also discovered what successful candidates do differently. But one important question remains. How do you actually prepare the right way? How do you turn these principles into a band 7, band 8, or band 9? Let's answer that now. But remember, understanding the principle is the beginning. Applying them is what changes your results. Let me show you how to apply them. By now, you know that IELTS rewards more than English. You know it rewards hidden mental thinking skills behind English. You know different question types require different strategies. You know effective preparation begins with diagnosis, not guesswork. But simply knowing these ideas won't improve your score. You need a clear system that helps you apply them consistently. A system that tells you what to learn, how to practice, and why you are doing it. You need to know the what, the why, and the how. Many times, people only know what to do, they don't know how to do it. That means they will not be able to do it. And sometimes they may know how to do it, but not knowing the why to do it can affect their motivation. So, to be effective at anything in life, you need to know what to do, how to do it, and why to do it. And applying that to IELTS, you need a system that helps you do that. And that's exactly what I've spent years developing. To help students prepare the right way, I have developed what I call the Peter IELTS Mastery System. It's built on the same principles we've discussed throughout this masterclass. Its purpose is simple: to replace random preparation with purposeful preparation, to make every lesson meaningful, every practice section productive, and every hour of study move you closer to your target band score. Remember, purposeful preparation produces predictable progress. Purposeful preparation produces predictable progress. And the first thing I'll help you do with the Peter IELTS Mastery System is to understand how IELTS really works. Not just the test format, not just the question types, but what the exam is actually measuring, what examiners are looking for, and why candidates gain or lose marks. Because when you truly understand the exam, you stop wasting time on preparation that doesn't help. You begin preparing with clarity and confidence. Because you can't really prepare well for an exam you don't fully understand. Next, I'll help you discover the hidden thinking mental skills behind every IELTS module. The thinking skills that separate average performance from high performance. You will learn how to recognize those skills, how to develop them, and how to apply them in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Because when the hidden skills become stronger, higher band scores become more achievable. Train the hidden skills, and the visible results will follow. It's as simple as that. In addition to this, I will also help you master the right strategy for every question type. In the different modules of IELTS, reading, listening, writing, and speaking, there are different question types. And aside the fact that there are hidden skills behind each task, these different question types require their different strategies, the methodology for dealing with them. So every task has its own logic, its own challenges, and its own method. So instead of approaching every question the same way, you learn how successful candidates approach every task with confidence and precision. That's how accuracy improves. And that's how time is saved. And that's how better scores are achieved. Remember, different question types require different strategies. So I'll show you the different question types and the best strategies for dealing with each of them. I'll also help you discover exactly why you are losing marks. Together, we'll identify your real weaknesses, not the ones you assume you have, the real ones. And then we'll focus your preparation on developing those specific skills. No more random practices. No more repeating the same mistakes. Every lesson will have a purpose. Every exercise will strengthen the skill. And every practice session will move you one step closer to your goal. So when you use my system, you stop practicing or studying harder. Instead, you practice smarter. And smartness actually beats hardness in quotes. So here's your IELTS success roadmap. First, you need to understand how IELTS really works. Then you develop the hidden skills behind every module. You also have to master the right strategies for every question type. Diagnose your weaknesses. Train those weaknesses deliberately and continue improving until your preparation matches what IELTS actually rewards. That's the journey the Peter IELTS Mastery System is designed to guide you through. So you can see this. Clear direction creates confident preparation. And this is designed to give you clear direction and boost your confidence. When we began this masterclass, I made a promise to you. I said, by the end, you understand how IELTS really works and why so many candidates struggle and exactly what you need to do to achieve your target band score. I hope you can now see that IELTS success isn't a mystery. It isn't about luck either. And it certainly isn't about studying harder than everyone else. It's about preparing the right way. If you'd like me to help you apply everything you've learned today, I'd love to work with you. Whether you're preparing for university, immigration, professional registration, or the next chapter of your life, I help you choose the course, class, or coaching program that's right for your goals. Simply reach out using the contact details on your screen. Together, we'll identify where you are, where you want to be, and the most effective path to get you there. The right preparation can change your IELTS results, and the first step is yours. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this masterclass has replaced confusion with clarity and uncertainty with confidence. And remember, IELTS success isn't about working harder, it's about preparing smarter. When your preparation matches what IELTS actually rewards, success becomes inevitable. I sincerely hope this roadmap helps you move closer to your target band score. And if you'd like me to guide you on this journey, I'll be delighted to help you. Thank you, and I wish you every success in your IELTS exam. Remember, when your preparation matches what IELTS rewards, success becomes predictable.